Yeah, so hi all, very good evening. Uh, can you hear me and is my screen visible? Can you just confirm? Okay, great. Yeah, okay, so yeah, very good evening and welcome to the 8th week of the TA live sessions for Artificial Intelligence Search Methods for Problem Solving for NPTEL. And so this week we'll be dealing with some questions related to planning, which is a relatively simple yet interesting topic as compared to the last week. So the last week was a bit of heavy stuff, especially with the detailed algorithms of alpha, beta, and SSS star. But this week it will be relatively simpler. So we'll have a look at a simple problem domain and we'll try to solve some planning questions related to that. So without further ado, let's get started. So I'll first give you a brief overview of the problem domain that we are going to work with. So here is the list of predicates that we are going to deal with. Okay. Now see, well, let's look at it one by one. So basically this at x comma look basically means that a person x is at a certain location look. Okay, so fairly simple to understand. Similarly, this app X means that X has an appointment in the hospital. Okay, no jab means that X has not got any jab of the vaccine. Okay, so we are going to deal with a scenario where people might have to take some vaccines. So we are going to plan something related to that. So one jab similarly means that this person X has got only one jab of the vaccine.
Hello. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Sir, yeah, can you explain this question once more? Once more.
I am still explaining the question, Saru.
Okay,
So,
okay, okay, okay.
yeah,
Okay. That's good. Okay. Yes, sir.
yeah, okay. Okay, so basically we are dealing with I am just telling the descriptions of or some details about a problem domain, a simple problem domain that we are going to deal with today. So basically these are some predicates, okay? So yeah, so two jab similarly means that a person X has got two jabs of vaccine. Ticket X or event means that X has a ticket for a certain event. Okay, like that's event might be a concert or a flight or a train, whatever. And attending X event means that X is a part of the event, whatever that event might be. Okay, so these are our predicates that we are going to deal with. Now, what are the operators that we are going to use? So first is a get jab operator. Okay, so whenever an operator is specified, does anyone want to tell me what other information do we have to have along with it?
The preconditions and the effects.
Yeah, that's right. Perfect. So we need to have the precondition that what conditions need to be true in order for us to use that particular operator. So in order to use this get jab one operator, we need the following preconditions that the person X must not have taken any jab of vaccine before. Basically, he should not have been vaccinated till then. He should have an appointment at the hospital and that person should be at the hospital to take the vaccine. So these three are the preconditions for this particular operator get jab one. Okay, and what are the positive effects of taking this action or taking or using this operator? That the person X now gets a jab of vaccine, so he's a vaccinated once basically. And the negative effects basically so this no jab is removed, so the person has taken one vaccine, so he's no longer unvaccinated. Okay, he's no longer at the he's no doesn't need the appointment at the hospital anymore, so that is also a negative effect. And he's also no longer required to be at the hospital, so that is a negative effect as well. Okay, so was the first operator clear or any doubt about it?
So this negative effects operator is not clear.
Yeah, see. So what does this mean? So get jab one operator, basically the purpose of this operator is that a person X, okay, this person gets one shot of vaccine. Okay,
Okay,
that's
sir.
why here it is written get jab one, which basically means that the first shot of vaccine. Now, in order for us to have to for this person X to take that first shot of vaccine, he should not have taken any sort of vaccine before, right? He
Yes, sir.
should have an
This
appointment at a hospital and he should be at the hospital. You are convinced
this is
about the
clear, sir.
preconditions? Okay.
Clear,
Now,
sir.
suppose that person takes this vaccine, okay? So we are now moving to a situation where the person X already has taken one vaccine.
Okay.
Okay. So he has one vaccine. Now, since this person already has one vaccine, this particular predicate of X having no shot of vaccine would become untrue, right? This would become false,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that is why this is called a negative effect. Basically, a negative effect of doing this action of getting the first shot.
Okay.
Okay. Similarly, once he has taken the vaccine, he does not need an appointment at the hospital. So this is also no longer needed. And he doesn't need to be at the hospital. So this is also not needed. Okay. That is what the negative effects mean. So is that clear?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Yeah. So I'm just going through this so that later on when we discuss the questions, there will be no confusion about it. So similarly, get jab 2 basically means the person X gets the second shot of vaccine. So it similarly has some preconditions, which are the person should have had one shot of vaccine. Similarly, he should have an appointment at a hospital and it should be at the hospital. And the negative effects are that one jab is no longer true, and similarly these two. And the positive effect is now that person has two shots of vaccine. Okay. Yeah. So I would request you to mute so that if you don't have a question, so that it won't disturb the others. Yeah. Thanks. Okay. So another operator is the get appointment operator, which is basically a person wanting to get an appointment at the hospital. So this does not have any preconditions. It does not have any negative effects as well. The only positive effect is that after using this particular action, the person has an appointment at a hospital. This is pretty clear. Similarly, the go operator, basically, which means that the person X goes to hospital, has a precondition that the person must have an appointment at the hospital. There are no negative effects, and the positive effect is that after using this action or taking this action, going to the hospital, the person will now be at the hospital. Okay, this is the positive effect. Okay, now this is another operator which is book a ticket for a certain event. Okay, so this basically says for a person X to go to a certain event, let's say a concert, a person must have been vaccinated twice. So that is a precondition that the person must have taken 2 doses of vaccine. This is a precondition for booking a ticket. There are no negative effects. The positive effect is that the person now has a ticket to a certain event. Okay. And the last operator that we are going to use would be the attend operator, which basically means that the person X is attending a certain event. Okay, so the precondition is that the person must have a ticket to that event. The positive effect is that the person would be attending that event, and the negative effect is that a ticket would no longer be needed once he has already started attending the event. Okay, so are the operators clear, everyone?
Sir, negative effect. Can you repeat?
Negative effect of
Negative effect.
any specific operator, do you want me to repeat?
Get jab one.
Okay, see, negative effect basically means that after application of this particular operator or this particular action, the things that would become false or not true. Okay, so basically when a person gets the first dose of vaccine using this action, okay, then the positive effect is that he gets one shot of vaccine, right? So this particular predicate of the person having no shot of vaccines, this becomes false, right? So
Yes.
you could think of it in this way. So let's say a person, these are the predicates that are true for a person, okay? A person has no shot of vaccine, okay? This is one predicate. The person has an appointment as a hospital,
Mm.
okay? And another predicate that is true is a person X is at the
Okay.
hospital, okay? Now, once these are true, these preconditions are true, we can apply this get jab 1 action or operator, okay? And the positive effect of this would
Yeah.
be that the person now has one shot of vaccine. So once this becomes true, then these three are kind of redundant for us, right? So in that sense, these are the
Yes.
negative effects. So we no longer take these three into consideration.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe we'll start discussing the examples and it will become more clearer as we discuss.
So basically for get jab 1, we know these are the preconditions, and once we have applied the get jab 1, we will minus these preconditions and add 1 jab X.
Yeah, exactly. That is true. Yeah. So suppose we are given a state. Okay. This is an initial state. Okay. That we are given. Okay. So state contains some predicates that are true, right? So let's say in a state, we have a state where a person named Aisha has no jabs of vaccine. Okay. So this person is not vaccinated. Let's say there's another person named Anisa who has one shot of vaccine. There's another person named Amol who has two shots of vaccine. Okay. And so Aisha already is at the hospital. This is also one of the information that is given to us. And Aisha has a hospital appointment. This is also given to us. Okay. So this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are the three things that are given to us. Okay. So this basically describes the state that we are in. Okay. So also to kind of continue on the point that one of your friends was just talking about this get jab 1. So you could say that we are in a particular state S where a certain number of predicates are true, okay? And when you see that the preconditions for a certain operators are satisfied, you apply that operator, okay? And you arrive at a new state, and in this new state, the positive effects are added and the negative effects are basically that effects that were there in this particular state S, those are no longer carry forwarded to this new state. Okay, that is a simplistic way of interpreting this. Okay, so this was our initial state, and our goal state is to reach a scenario where all three of these persons, Aisha, Amol, and Anisa, are attending an event, which is a concert basically. Okay, so is the problem setting clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. Yeah, so we just had a look at the predicates, the operators, and the initial state and the goal state, which is basically the planning problem that we have specified. And we have to construct optimal plans for each of these three goals or agents basically. So these three outputs that are not output exactly, these three sub goals that are given over here, attending Aisha concert with, or attending Amol concert, attending Anisa concert, these are the three agents you could say, or three goals that we have to satisfy. Okay, So the first question in this regard is, which agent has the shortest optimal plan? Okay. Okay, so we already have an answer. Oh, two answers. Okay, let's see. Let's discuss.
Yeah, Amol.
Okay. So
Can't say.
let's try to figure out these the optimal plan for each of these agents one by one. Okay, so let's only look at the condition, the information that is true for this specific kind of agents. Okay, so the only relevant information related to amol here is this one in our initial state, given state, that amol has 2 jabs of vaccine. Okay, so amol has 2 shots of vaccine is given to us. Now the goal that we have to satisfy
Sir,
for,
we
yeah,
can able to see only the question, sir.
okay, now can you
Okay,
see
sir.
the
Okay.
Jamboard?
Thank.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes,
yeah.
sir. Yes, sir. Thank.
Thanks for pointing out. Yeah. So I was basically saying that we know that Amol has 2 vaccines and that is given to us. Now for fulfilling this goal of Amol attending the concert, let's look at the what the precondition was. Okay, so in order for Amol to attend a certain concert, we he'll have to use this particular operator of attend x comma event. Okay, and to use this operator, the precondition is that the ticket must be available. Okay, so let's go back and see how to book a ticket. To book a ticket, Amol will have to use this book operator over here, and the preconditions are that he must have 2 shots of vaccine. Now we know that for Amol, 2 jabs is true, right? This is given to us. So he'll straightforward use the book operator, okay, and then he'll book the ticket. Okay, and what will be the effect of this booking the ticket?
Ticket Amol, comma event. The
Yeah,
concert. Sorry.
yeah. So this operator has no negative effect. The only positive effect is that another information will be added over here, which is basically ticket amol comma event, as one of your friends said. Okay, I'm not writing this whole thing. Okay, now that is satisfied. Now we can apply this attend operator as well. We can use this ticket precondition that we have just added over here and use this to go to the goal state of attending a mole comma event, right? So the negative effect is that this will be removed because a mole will be attending the event, so this will no longer be needed, and we can add attending a mole concert. Okay, so we have satisfied this particular goal. This one we have satisfied. And what was the length of the whole plan that we took? So basically what Amol had to do, he first had to book ticket and then use this attend operator. So the length of this plan was 2. Now can you quickly tell me the optimal plan for the other 2 people, Aisha and Anisa? What would they have to do given this initial state information that we had?
First, Aisha would have to get her second jab, and then she will go through the same process as Amol went. That first she will book the ticket and then attend
Okay, but
the concert.
can Aisha get the second jab straight away? Because we are given that Aisha has no jab.
Oh, sorry. Actually, I was talking about Anisa.
Yeah, that's right. So Anisa has can already has 1 shot of vaccine. So And so first she'll have to book a appointment at the hospital, right? Because as per the given information, she doesn't yet have a appointment at the hospital. She'll have to book an appointment, then she'll have to get the second jab, and then she'll have to book the ticket, and then she'll have to attend basically. Whereas for Aisha, what she has to do, she has no jab, so she first has to book an appointment to the hospital, then okay, so also go to the hospital. That is another action that has to be taken midway. So she has to book an appointment, go to the hospital, get the first shot, then again book an appointment, again go to the hospital, again get the second shot, then use the book to book the ticket, and then use the attend operator to attend the event. So I'll just show you the optimal plans for each of these agents and let you convince yourself of whether these are correct or not. Okay, let me know if there are any issues.
No issue. No issue, sir.
Okay, no issue. Everyone's convinced?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
sir, get appointment should come first, no, sir. Then get jab one.
Yeah, in which agent are you talking?
For Aisha,
Aisha. Okay, so see, Aisha already has an appointment, I think, as per the given information that we have.
okay, she already took one jab.
No, Aisha doesn't have a jab, but she has already has this appointment and she's already at the hospital. This 4 and 5. I think that's why this get jab is directly written over here. Okay. Okay, so if everyone is convinced about this, then we can quickly solve the next few questions. So, which agent has the shortest optimal plan? That would be
Amol.
Amol.
Mole.
That's right, because he only has to take two actions. Okay, the length of the is 2. We just saw that the length is 2 for Amol's optimal plan. Which agent has the longest optimal plan?
Aisha.
Aisha.
Yeah, that's right. Aisha has the longest optimal plan. She has to take 6 actions, I think. So the length would be 6. Okay, so these were pretty straightforward questions. Now we go to the different planning algorithms. So suppose we are using the forward state space planning. So which of the following could be the first operator considered by Aisha? What do you think? There might be one or more options correct over here.
Sir, please explain
Get
forward
jab
state space
one.
planning.
Sorry?
Sir, please explain forward state space planning.
Yeah, so have you watched the lectures for week 8?
This lecture, sir.
Sorry?
Sir, sir, I have gone through the slides, sir, but I don't understand, sir.
Okay, so
In short,
suppose
in
you are
short.
given a particular state, okay? You're in a particular initial state. Okay, so as per this initial state, whatever preconditions are satisfied for whatever operators that you have, okay, of you will consider all of them as candidates. Okay, so suppose you were in a state such that the preconditions for uh, operator 1 were satisfied, so you will also consider this as a candidate. Then operator 2, similarly 3, 4 and 5. Suppose you are considering 5 operators as candidate, then for each of these, again you'll you'll have some changes in the state because of positive and negative effects, and then again you'll consider a number of actions that you could take from here on. Okay, so you'll continue doing that. So this is basically forward state space planning, and the issue with this kind of planning algorithms is that it has a very high branching factor. Okay, so based on that, What do you think would be the options over here? Okay, so we have a set of answers. So people are saying that A will be one of the answers. Okay, that's great. So let's check whether GetJab1 is something that could be considered. Okay, so let's do away with all this rough work that we had done. So this is the initial state that we had. Okay, and based on these, which of these operators precondition is satisfied that we can think of? Okay.
No jab.
Yeah. So no jab Aisha, at hospital Aisha, and hospital appointment Aisha is true. So this get jab one Aisha would be applicable, right? So as many of you suggested in the chat, A seems to be one of the correct options. So let's keep it over in mind. Let's look at what other conditions could be true. Okay. So see, there are some operators which do not have any preconditions. Okay. Suppose this get appointment operator. So this will always be one of the potential candidates because it does not have any preconditions. So it can be applied at any point of time. Okay, so this is also a potential option, right? And since we are also given that Aisha already has an appointment at a hospital, this condition, that is this information that is given to us, using that as precondition, we can also add another operator of Aisha going to the hospital. Although this is redundant kind of, because Aisha is already present at the hospital, but still this is one of the possible candidates that could be applied, right? So for Aisha there are three possible uh, ways that we could go ahead with. Okay, coming back over here. So forward state space planning would consider these three as the for potential first operators that could be considered by Aisha. Basically, get jab one, get appointment, and uh, go to the hospital. Okay, out of these C and D, although these are redundant, but since forward state space planning includes all possible actions that could be or operators that could be used at a given point of time, uh, these three also are included in the options, correct options. So is that clear or any doubt about it?
So,
Yeah.
if in forward state space planning, we have a question like instead of the first operation for Aisha, we want to know the last operator, then we would have to make the whole tree.
Yeah, that would be the way to go, but I don't think that will be asked because see, that's one of the shortcomings of FSSP is that it has a very high branching factor, so you'll get a very huge tree.
Yeah, because I tried making the tree and I got really confused.
Yeah, so if it's the last operator, then most probably uh, backward state-space planning would be the correct algorithm to apply.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, but just see whatever the question asks you and answer
Yes, sir.
accordingly. Yeah, so Mayukha, to answer your question, they're already given. That's exactly the point. Although they are given, FSSP still considers them as potential actions that could be taken, and that is one of the shortcomings of FSSP. Okay, so solely based on the uh, information that is given to us in the initial state, the preconditions for a certain operator is satisfied, it means that FSSP will consider it as a candidate. That is the issue with FSSP. Okay, so if this is clear, we'll quickly move to the next question, which is again FSSP, but for Amol over here. So which of the following options could be correct for Amol?
EF.
Okay, E and F. Okay, so what are the
E and F.
okay, let's look at what are the preconditions for E and for these two options that we had. So E was book a ticket to a concert for a mole. The preconditions for this one, okay, so let me remove the other one so that there's no confusion. Yeah, so the precondition is that there must be two jabs. A mole must have two jabs, and we know that is true because of the information that is given to us. So a mole has two jabs. So we can say that this book operator is a potential candidate. That's right. Now, for attend, although the precondition is to have a ticket to an event, okay, and we don't have the information of Amol having the ticket just yet, okay, so we can't say that this attend operator is applicable over here. Do you get my point?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, once more, can you say that?
Yeah, sure. So I'll just show the correct answer. So basically, book a mole concert is the one of the possible options, and get appointment is one of the possible options. Let's see how we are arriving at this. Yeah. So let me just remove all these. So remember that this question is specific only for Amol, okay, not for Aisha, not for Anisa. So we'll look at only the information that is given to us about Amol, and the only information that is given to us is that Amol has 2 shots of vaccine. Okay, that is the only information given to us in the initial state. So we are only going to use that information. Now let's look at the operators one by one. So is get jab 1 applicable over here? It requires the condition that a mole does not have any jab. Now we know that that is not true because a mole already has 2 jabs. We know that, right? So this cannot be applied. Get jab 1 cannot be applied. Similarly, get jab 2 cannot be applied because we know that one jab for a mole is not true. A mole already has 2 shots of vaccine. Now get appointment. Now what are the preconditions for this one? Nothing, which basically means that this operator can be applied to at any given point of time. So this is a potential candidate, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, what are the other operators? Let's say, so go for Amol to go to the hospital, the precondition is that he should have an appointment at the hospital. We are not given that information. The only information about Amol is that he has 2 shots. So again, this operator is also not applicable for Amol. Now let's see this event, book a ticket to a certain event. The precondition is that Amol has 2 shots of vaccine, which we know is true. So we can use this operator as a potential candidate. Okay, now the final operator that we have is attend, and the preconditions is that Amol must have a ticket to a certain event. And as per the given initial state, we do not have that information about Amol. The only information is that he has 2 shots of vaccine, and that is not enough for us to say that we can consider attend X as a potential candidate operator. So this is also not applicable. So the only two operators applicable are get appointment and book. Okay, so is it clearer now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Archana, so the redundant items are considered. I mean, there are no redundant items. No, actually there are. So we are considering redundant items. So see, this get appointment, a mole is kind of redundant because we know that a mole already has 2 shots of vaccine, so he doesn't need to get an appointment to the hospital or even go to the hospital for that matter. So this get appointment, a mole is kind of redundant, but forward stage-based planning is still considering it as a possible operator to add to the tree basically. So yeah, Mayuka, so at a given point of time, so your question is, so should we consider only a given state to solve as a FSSP? So a given state at a given point of time. Okay, so when you're starting with a particular state, then see all the operators that could be applied in that particular state. Okay, okay, that would be added to the tree. then for each of these operators, there would be certain changes to the state, and you will get a number of different states, basically. Let me show you. Yeah, so you were given an initial state, okay, and let's say these are all the 5 operators that you could apply you given this initial state, okay. Now suppose you consider this operation 1, okay. As a result of this operation 1, there will be some changes to the state, okay. You will reach a state, let's say S1. Similarly, from this you will reach a state S2. From this you will reach a state S3, okay. This, by the way, doesn't mean that you are going to all these states. This is just a basically a forward state space planning tree, basically, you could say, in a way. Okay, now based on this particular state information, that there would be some changes in S1 as compared to IS, because some of the negative effects would be removed and some of the positive effects of this operation 1 would be added, right? So from here on you will have another set of operators that you could apply over here, okay. One operator, another operator, and another operator. Similarly, for this we will have another set of operators for another set, another, and another. And for each of these operators, again you will have a new state. So this process is going to continue, and that is one of the issues of FSSP that I was mentioning, is that the branching factor is huge. For every possible options, you have like an exponential number of options to follow. Okay, so you get my point? Okay, great. So we have solved this for Amol. Now let's quickly consider the case for Anisa. So based on all this information, so which of these operators could be considered for Anisa given the initial state? Yeah, so Bhavya says that get appointment Anisa is one of the possible options that could be considered. That is true because it does not have any precondition. Okay, so some people are saying that go is also option D is also one of the options. So let's see. So while get appointment is true that it will be one of the possible options, but okay, let's see what is the information that we have about Anisa over here in this given state. We are given that Anisa has 1 shot of vaccine, okay, and that is the only information that is given to us. Now let's consider all the operators one by one. Let me remove the rough work we did for Amol. So get jab 1 is not applicable because we know that Anisa already has 1 shot of vaccine. Okay. Now get jab 2. Now in order for get jab 2 to be true, one of the preconditions is satisfied, like 1 jab of Anisa that we know. But we don't have the other precondition, that is Anisa should have an hospital appointment and Anisha should be at the hospital. So because that these two are not true, even though this is true, this is not a possible viable candidate. Okay. Similarly, go is also not true, book is also not true, attend is also not true. Only possible correct option here is get appointment. Okay. Yeah, someone had raised a hand. You can speak up if you have any doubt.
Sir, it's by mistake.
Okay, no issues. Yeah, Shivam, so get chap 2 will not be a viable candidate at this stage given the initial state information that we have. Okay, and the question asks us to which of the following could be the first operator considered by ANISA? The first operator would only be the one that could be selected among the candidates generated based on the given initial state that we start with. Okay, and according to that, only the C option is the correct option. Okay, so if this is clear, now let's have a look at the backward state space planning. Now in backward state space planning, what happens? So in order to kind of overcome the issue of high branching in forward state space planning, what backward state space planning does is that instead of starting from the initial state, it starts from the final goal that it has to achieve. Okay, so for example, for let's say for a mole, the final state would be attending a concert. Okay, this is the final state, and we will consider what are the relevant actions that could be taken. Okay, so does anyone remember
Sir,
what
we
are
can see the questions. Okay, sir.
yeah, sorry, I forgot to move to the jam. Yeah, so does anyone remember what could be a relevant, what is a relevant action in case of backward state space planning? No?
That is related to goal, sir.
Yeah, Ghanshyam, you're
That
on the
is,
right path. So basically
yes.
a relevant action. So the proper definition is discussed by Sir in the lecture. So I recommend you to visit that. But in short, like in a high level, you could say that actions you could apply in order to reach this particular goal state. Okay, just the previous action that you could apply. Okay, so for Amol to have this as the final attending the concert, what is the immediate previous operator that he could apply? That would be attend, right? Because in order to be attending, having attending as a positive effect, attend is the operator that Amol could apply, right? Attend Amol concert. Okay, so this will have a certain positive effect, which is attending concert, and this again requires some preconditions. Okay, so what are the preconditions for attending a certain thing? That there must be,
Ticket must be
yeah,
ticket.
exactly. So ticket must be there. So this would again become one of the goals. Okay, now in order to have this ticket, then again the relevant action has to be taken. Let's say a book a ticket has to be taken.
Teacher.
Then for book a ticket, then again some preconditions will be there, so on and so forth. We can continue and finally reach the given or initial state. Okay, so this is one way to go, and this kind of addresses the issue of having a high branching factor, but it produces a new issue, and that is that the final plan that we get might actually be an invalid plan. Okay, so there might be certain sequence of relevant actions that you take one after the other while going in this direction that might not be actually applicable when you move in this direction. And professor actually in lectures he has explained a very good example for that, so I will not get into the details of how backward state space planning works. So coming back to our question, so our question is concerned with only a simple aspect of BSSP, which is using backward state space planning, which of the following could be the first operator considered by Aisha? So what do you think could be true over here? Okay, so we have a number of answers. Let's see. As we discussed, the immediate operator to precede the condition of attending a concert would be to take the attend operator, and so that would be the first operator considered by Aisha in BSSP. Yeah, so Akash, remember that we are asked only for the first operator, immediate first operator. So we ticket as doesn't yet come into our consideration as of now. Okay, so everyone clear about this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So let's now move on to another type of planning algorithm, which is the goal stack planning algorithm. Okay, so
Hello, sir.
yeah.
Sir, before moving further, just I want to confirm that
Mm-hmm,
if we are doing backward state space planning,
mm-hmm.
and the first operator will be directly the goal, that means what we need to achieve.
No. So the goal is a set of predicates. Okay, so it doesn't have an operator. So the first, let me go to the question.
As we discuss in this problem, that for Aisha also,
Mm-hmm.
the first operator is to go to concert, and for
To
maybe
attend the concert.
Amol also, for Amol also to attend the
Right,
concert, the
right.
first
That's right.
operator.
Yeah.
That means that is the final goal.
No, the
That means
final goal is attending the concert. Okay, so attend is an operator that makes a person attend the concert, and attending is when a person is
okay,
actually attending the concert.
attending the concert, and for her is attend the concert. That means that is near to goal that way.
Yeah, see, so the difference comes by the definition of predicates and operators. So predicate is a certain information about a person X, okay, where a person is.
Yes.
And this operator is basically a way to move from a certain state to another state, you could say.
Okay.
Yeah.
And one thing is there that in a assignment the question is asked for forward state space planning,
Mm-hmm.
which is the last action of the shortest plan. So can we
Okay.
get the last action?
Yeah,
It
so
is
you
difficult.
solve and see. Maybe it's a
That
short
means it
kind of.
can be number of last action. Suppose we go, then there might be many options actually.
So
And anyhow, for
is it asked for a specific
yes.
case? Maybe have a look at it. So maybe they have asked only for a specific case.
So anyhow, for backward or forward state space planning, the last action will be to attain the goal. That means suppose there is that means we need a stack of A on C and B on D. So
No.
last,
See. In forward state space planning, you are going from the initial state to the goal state. Okay. And
yes,
backward
yes,
state space planning, you are going from the goal state to the initial state. So the first operator in forward state space planning would be the operator you apply just after the given initial state, whereas the first operator you apply in backward state space planning would be the operator that you apply immediately before the goal state. Okay, so if
so
I
there
kind
is
of,
a difference between relevant action and what applicable action.
yeah, definitely,
Applicable, applicable action we are using in forward state space, and relevant we are using in backward state space.
yeah, exactly,
Okay. So applicable action means whatever action which are applicable depending upon the precondition.
yes,
Uh, it means applicable action, no, sir?
yes, I think so.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, maybe you can also revisit the lectures just to confirm. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes, Arijit, you have raised a hand, so if you have a doubt, please go ahead.
Yes, sir. I have a doubt.
Yeah.
So, in case of backward state space planning,
Mm-hmm.
the action, the last action means the last action which is uh, which is applied to the plan. So, the plan is validated as the forward state space. No? So, it, it is a statement that your last action is the first action in your plan.
Mm-hmm.
So if a question is asked that what is the last, if a question is asked that what is the last action in your plan, then
Mm-hmm.
I have to mention the first action that I've taken or the last action.
Yeah, so that is a tricky way to put the question. I hope they won't put it that way. So,
Yeah,
uh,
they have put them that way, sir.
okay,
That's the question actually.
so they have
That's why
asked
I'm
the
asking.
first in the plan.
Yeah, in the plan.
Okay, yeah, so then in that case, I guess I agree with you that the plan will be to go from the given state to the final state or the goal state, but the first
Plan is all. Sir, plan is always in forward state space or backward state. Plan is always from the initial to the goal, na?
yeah, that's what I also think.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you want, you can also confirm it with Bhaskaran sir through the discussion forum.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So the goal. So we are asked about the goal stack planning basically. So the goal stack planning kind of takes inspiration from both FSSP and BSSP and kind of is best of both worlds in a way you could say. So what the goal stack planning does is, so you have a set of goals, okay? Let's say G1, G2, G3, okay? So in our example, this could be, first goal could be the goal for Aisha. The second goal could be the goal for Anisa. And the last one could be the goal for Amol. Okay, so what the goal stack planning would do, it will maintain a stack, okay? It will first push the compound goal set consisting of all of these, then it will push these sub goals in a particular order. Okay, now what particular order it will push in, that often depends on a certain, some reasoning or some heuristic, as professor also might have mentioned in his lectures. So we're not going to concern ourselves with that because we are dealing with very simple examples, and we can just have a look at the problem at hand and decide what order we want to go with. Okay, so suppose we go with G1, G2, G3. Also, these three goals, sub goals that we have are kind of independent of each other, so we could actually apply them in any order for the particular problem that we are dealing with, and then it will try to solve each of these sub goals one after the other. Okay, uh, the way it will do it is, it will have a look at the sub goal. It will see the action that could be applied in this state. Suppose for Aisha, suppose for Amol, we have the action that could be applied is attend, like in backward state space planning we saw. So it will add attend, and it will add the preconditions of attend over here, and so on and so forth, and it will keep outputting this one after the other. Okay, so we don't have to get into the details because we are only asked a simple question about the goal stack planning, which is, which of the following could be the first goal considered by our AI bot? So just based on the initial structure of the stack that we just discussed, what do you think could be the possible correct options over here? B. Okay, so we have an option B. That's right. So could any other option also be true? So because the question asks which of the following could be the first goal. That's right. So one of your friends, Shivam, has said that A, B, C could be the any of the following. So that is actually the correct option, because so when we form these, when we insert these subgoals into the stack, no, we could do that in any order. It could be G1, G2, G3, or G3, G2, G1, or whatever order we want, because these three can be planned for separately or independently of each other, right? So for our simple question and our simple problem, these three could be the possible options in this case. Okay, is that clear? So Mayuka, attending or so E or F actually could not be the uh, first goals to be considered, because the first goals will only be the sub goals that are given to us in the compound goal, right? And that is only attending the concert that is given to us. This two jabs and all will come later on, maybe when we are solving or going through the steps of the goal stack planning algorithm. Okay, so these are actually very straightforward algorithms. So I will encourage you to actually try to solve this before attempting your assignment, so that you'll have some kind of an experience to go ahead with a different problem statement that is given to you in the assignment.
Sir,
Yeah.
I have one question.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, in the goal, what in GSP sir told us that we first put all the three goals in the stack and
Okay.
then pop them one by one and solve them, right? So, can you show the Jamboard for once where you have written the goal?
Yeah.
Um, what is the order? G1 will go to the bottom,
No, so our
then
stack
G2
is
on
in
top of
our
it.
our stack is in this direction. So we have G3 at the bottom, Gen to G2, then G1. So in our ordering, G1 will be try to be solved first.
Okay, I had a confusion in what order it should be.
Yeah, so since in our problem, these three problems, these are Aisha, Anisa, and Amol, we could solve three independent of each other. So you could actually use any order, whichever is convenient to you. If we had a problem statement where, we could prefer solving something before another possible goal. Okay, let's say a simple example. I think Professor had also talked about this, or maybe not, I'm not sure. Suppose you are cooking something, okay? So in order to cook first, let's say you have two sub goals. One sub goal is to uh, let's say buy the raw items, okay, buy the raw items, and then the next sub goal is to cook. Okay, then you know that you want a specific order, you want to solve this first and then you want to cook, right? So then you'll have to push it in a certain way, you know that. But here, since we can solve these three sub goals independently, we can use any order. So is that clear?
Sir, hello.
Yeah.
Sir, just I want to know whether stack and unstack are sub goals or actions.
Stack
That
and
means
unstack.
related to that block block type of problem.
Ah, okay, the
So
problem that sir discussed in
actions
lectures.
are actions are pick up, put down, or hold. These are actions, or
Stack,
stack and unstack are
s-
actions.
stack and unstack are also actions because, okay, so let me tell you. So
They are sub
basically,
goals or actions actually.
stack and unstack are actions, not goals or sub goals.
These are actions.
Yes. So suppose
Okay.
this is our table, okay?
Hmm.
So when you have a certain box placed on the table directly, then
Okay.
you use a pickup action,
Pick
okay?
up. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Or when you have a box in the arm of the robot like this, and you have to
That is
place it
holding.
directly on the table that you want to place it, then you use the put down action.
Yes.
Okay, now if you have a scenario where you have boxes placed on top of each other
Yes.
like this, okay,
Yes, sir.
then you won't use the, and you suppose you want to pick up this particular box named A,
Yeah.
then you won't use the pickup. Okay, then you will use the unstack. So basically, if you say if this is named B, this basically means that you are unstacking A from top of B. Okay, so unstack
So
AB is an action over here. Similarly, if you want,
suppose we say unstacking A from B is action,
mm-hmm,
then it will be subdivided that to hold the B, and that means this is
no, hold
sub
the
goal.
B is a certain part
Sorry,
of
hold A
hold.
actually.
Yes, hold
So,
A is a part of a state description. Okay, so
okay.
the arm of the robot is holding A. This is a part of a state description. So when you have a description of a state, you will have this particular predicate, hold A.
Okay.
Okay. Similarly, if you
That means
want to
unstack A from B is an action.
unstack A from B is an action, and if you want to place a certain box, let's say C on top of another box named D, then you will say stack C on D. That is also an action. So if you actually go and look at the, I think the first week's live session, we discussed a problem related to this one-armed robot. So maybe you will find some more kind of an explanation or maybe some more elaboration over there. So If you haven't already,
Okay. Oh,
maybe try and go back and look at it.
yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Okay, yeah. So any other doubt before we proceed to the next question? Okay, no doubt. Then great. So this is the question related to goal stack planning also, and this is also kind of a simple question where we don't actually need to go into the details of goal stack planning, but from the initial kind of configuration only in our minds we can solve this. So while the previous question asked was what could be the first goal that we could consider, the next question, this 10th question asks what is the first action that could be added to the plan by the bot. Okay, so how do you think could we approach this? Anyone wants to try? Okay, let's try and see what was the first action that could be taken. Yeah, so Mayuka, you gave a right answer. So consider one of Aisha, Amol, or Anish or Anisa. So see, in goal stack planning, just like we saw that we could address it in any particular order. Okay, so maybe Aisha comes first, or Anisa comes first, or Amol comes first. So we have to take into consideration all of these. So in the case, let's say case one, let me erase this. Yeah. So suppose case one that we solve Amol's goal first. Okay. Then what will be the first action that could be added? The first action could be which one? Okay, we have a set of answers. Let's see. The first action that could be added for Amol is to book the ticket for the concert, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Similarly, when we try to solve the, let's say we try to solve Anisa's case first, okay, then what would be the action that could be added first? Get appointment, right? Because Anisha will try to get an appointment and get the second dose of vaccine that she wants to get. Similarly, if we try to solve Aisha's goal first, then get jab 1 for Aisha would be the action that could be considered by the bot. Okay, so these three are the options that are correct in this case. Okay, that's great. So I see most of you have got it. So this is the last question for today. Uh, Now instead of using the goal stack planning, we are using the partial order planning. Uh, so which of the following could be the first open goals to be resolved by the bot? So do you remember what an open goal is or how plan partial order planning works basically? No? Okay, so till now what we were doing is we were moving from one state to another given an initial state, right? Now what partial order planning does is it considers partial plans. So straight away partial plans it considers, so sequences of actions, not moving from one state to another. And the way it proceeds it, so it will start with a A0 which has no preconditions and it has a certain set of effects which are basically all the information that is given to us in our initial state. Okay, so suppose 2 jabs a mole is one of the, okay, I'm not writing the whole thing. 2 jabs a mole is one of the actions that, one of the effects of this A0. Okay, and then we have another thing called A infinity that has as its preconditions the three goals that we have to satisfy. Okay, so attending concert for Amol, attending concert for Ayesha, and attending concert for Anisa as a three, and its effect is nil. Okay, and then we have to gradually fill these kind of so these three are basically the open goals because they don't have any so let me actually go to the definition that sir had talked about in plan space planning. Okay, a open goal is any precondition of an action that is not supported by a causal link, right? So in this case, these attending for Amol or attending for Aisha or attending for Anisa, these are not supported by a causal link from any particular action, right? So we don't have a certain action over here that kind of fulfills these, right? So these three are kind of the open goals that we have. So if we go back to our questions, which of the following could be the first open goals to be resolved by the bot? What do you think could be the answer?
Sir, B.
Okay, B is one of the options. That's right. Any other option? Yeah, so Archana in the chat has given the kind, also Ajay, a number of you have given the correct option. So A, B, C, like the previous question also, these three are the possible first goals that could actually be resolved by the bot that uses this partial order planning. Okay, and then you could build on top of this, add more causal links and stuff, and see. I actually encourage you to try to fill the whole figure and see if there are try to form all the causal links and see if there are any threats occurring in this particular plan basically. And if there are any threats, then try to see how those threats could be resolved. Okay, that would be a good exercise before you move. You try to kind of attempt your assignment. So you could do that. So that brings us to the end of today's session, which was related to some planning questions. So are there any further questions or should we close the session? Can you guys hear me?
No, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
So, sir, planning graph,
Yeah.
there are some questions related to planning graph. So,
Okay. Planning.
planning graph actually I have not seen in the lectures. Planning graph,
Which planning graph? Are you talking about any particular algorithm or?
no, the question is
Sir,
related to
actually question number 19 and 20 are related to planning graph, and that
multi
are
simulation
not,
and planning graph.
Oh,
yeah,
is
that are
it?
not
Partial
part.
plan.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. I think graph planning might be a part of week 9, right? Can you just check quickly?
yeah, yeah, sir. It is the part of it is there in the
1920
slides,
are
but it
related
is
to
not
planning graph.
explained in the. Yeah,
Okay, okay. So has any one of you raised this in the discussion forum?
yeah, someone raised it 2 days back.
Okay, and what was the response? Was there any response from maybe Bhaskar and sir?
I didn't check that, so
Yeah, maybe just have a look.
okay.
Okay, so Mayuka says not to solve them. Okay, then maybe you can just have a look. Maybe Bhaskar and sir has said that if they are not covered in week 8, then you can skip them. Okay,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay.
that's
Okay,
great.
sir.
Just check the discussion forum. Maybe sir has already replied.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you,
you,
sir.
sir.
Okay, okay. So thank you all for attending, and let's meet next week.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.